Did Anthony Davis agent Rich Paul force the Mavericks into a trade? NBA insider shuts down shocking rumors. Rumors in the NBA spread faster than a fast break, and this week, one of the wildest stories to hit social media involves Anthony Davis, Rich Paul, and the Dallas Mavericks. According to online chatter, Davis' powerful agent allegedly tried to pressure the Mavericks into a trade scenario behind the scenes. Some fans even went as far as claiming this was another example of clutch sports pulling strings across the league. But before anyone grabs their pitchforks or fires up conspiracy threads, an NBA insider has stepped in, and their response completely flips the narrative. Let's break down where this rumor came from, why Rich Paul's name immediately raised eyebrows, and what insiders are now saying that shuts this story down hard. How the rumor took off. It all started with speculation on NBA Twitter and Reddit, where fans noticed increased chatter around Anthony Davis' future and the Mavericks' ongoing roster questions. Dallas has been searching for ways to maximize Luka Doncic's prime, and anytime a superstar big man is mentioned, Anthony Davis' name naturally enters the conversation. From there, the rumor snowballed. Some accounts claimed Rich Paul had been quietly influencing teams, allegedly discouraging certain trade paths while nudging others toward Dallas. The theory suggested the Mavericks were being forced into discussions they never initiated. And once Rich Paul's name was attached, the internet did what it does best, assumed the worst. Why Rich Paul always gets dragged into these stories. Rich Paul has become one of the most powerful agents in sports, and with that power comes constant scrutiny. As the face of clutch sports, he's been accused, fairly or not, of manipulating front offices, controlling player movement, and prioritizing star agendas over team stability. His close association with LeBron James has only fueled those narratives. Anytime a big-name player is involved, fans are quick to ask, is Rich Paul behind this? So when Anthony Davis, a clutch client, was linked to Dallas in trade rumors, many fans didn't hesitate to connect the dots, even if the dots didn't actually exist. NBA insider shuts it down. That's where an NBA insider stepped in and poured cold water all over the story. According to the insider, there is no evidence, none, that Rich Paul pressured the Mavericks into anything. No forced conversations. No behind-the-scenes manipulation. No secret demands. In fact, the insider clarified that Dallas never engaged in serious Anthony Davis trade talks in the first place. Any discussions that did occur were described as routine league-wide check-ins, the kind teams have all the time just to gauge availability and value. In other words, business as usual, not a power play. The reality of the Mavericks situation. From Dallas' perspective, the idea that they'd be forced into an Anthony Davis trade doesn't really make sense. The Mavericks are walking a tightrope financially, and Davis' contract, injury history, and age would require massive roster reshuffling. Dallas has been focused on flexibility, depth, and long-term pairing options around Luka, not swinging for a risky blockbuster unless it clearly moves the championship needle. An insider noted that if the Mavericks truly wanted Davis, the conversations would have been far louder and far more advanced than anything reported. Anthony Davis' actual focus. Another major flaw in the rumor. Anthony Davis himself. According to league sources, Davis hasn't expressed dissatisfaction or pushed for movement. His camp has reportedly remained quiet, professional, and aligned with staying competitive where he is. There's been no trade request. No subtle pressure. No leverage plays. That alone undercuts the entire theory that Rich Paul was acting on Davis' behalf to engineer something in Dallas. How NBA fans fall for these narratives. This situation highlights a recurring problem in NBA discourse, agent paranoia. Anytime a superstar is represented by a high-profile agent, fans assume manipulation. But insiders stress that agents don't control front offices the way social media thinks they do. Yes, agents advocate. Yes, they negotiate. But forcing a franchise into unwanted trades, that's largely fiction. One insider put it bluntly, teams talk. Agents talk. That doesn't mean anyone's being pushed. Why this rumor still matters. Even though the story has been shut down, it matters because it shows how fast misinformation spreads in the NBA ecosystem. A single speculative post can turn into a full-blown narrative within hours, especially when it involves names like Rich Paul, Anthony Davis, and a franchise under pressure like the Mavericks. And once a narrative sticks, the correction rarely travels as far as the original rumor. Final takeaway. So, did Rich Paul force the Mavericks into trade talks for Anthony Davis? According to NBA insiders, absolutely not. No pressure. No manipulation. No secret agenda. Just another case of NBA rumors getting louder than the facts. Still, as the league moves closer to the trade deadline, expect Anthony Davis' name and Rich Paul's to keep popping up. In today's NBA, perception is often louder than reality, and silence is rarely enough to stop speculation.